we are a nation that has become obsessed with having the perfect body. Just scroll through any social media platform and you'll be swamped with images of six-pack abs and perfectly sculpted torsos. And wherever you look, there are tips and products that claim to be the key to unlock your dream physique. But can the average Joe have that body? I, Joe Maddison, am going to find out why more and more of us Brits are turning to anabolic steroids to fuel our Beachbody goals. But do we really know what's in them?
But you actually don't know what you're taking.
Are they the quick fix that everybody thinks?
What they didn't sort of portray in these programs, how much stuff were they taking? How long were they taking it for?
And have we gone too far in the pursuit of a great physique?
Well, I've seen stretch marks as progression. It's like getting an A and getting a certificate for doing something at school. It means it's working.
So what are steroids? Professor Harrison Pope of Harvard Medical School is at the forefront of anabolic steroid research and explains it in a nutshell.
The anabolic steroids, often abbreviated as simply steroids, are a family of hormones that comprises testosterone, which is nature's own anabolic steroid, so to speak, the original natural anabolic steroid, together with dozens and dozens of synthetic derivatives of testosterone that have been synthesized over the last 70 years.
My investigation started by asking members of the public whether or not they thought steroid use was on the rise.
I think there's more of a pressure to look good these days on lads, so I think there's more chance of them going out, going to the gym, and then with it being more advertised, I think there's going to be more demand in trying to get them.
It seems like there's more people taking steroids.
It's got a bit bigger in the last probably 10 years because obviously that industry's got a lot better through the media.
Probably are, but it's kept more under wraps with like how the media is based now.
There's more competition for people to look better these days, so people go to extreme lengths.
Lots of people want to get big today, and there's more like people get like the perfect body, ideal body, like thrown at them a lot more.
So public opinion suggests that steroids may be on the rise, but who is taking them? I'm up early to meet two guys who train together but don't necessarily have the same view when it comes to steroids.
This morning we're going to meet two guys called Joe and Lee, but there's a bit of a contrast between the two really. It'll be quite interesting because Joe's a personal trainer, but he's quite openly said that he doesn't like the use of anabolic steroids, whereas Lee is currently on a course at the moment. So it'd be nice to get their two arguments, their 2 points of view on why it's good or a counter argument as to why it's not good for you at all.
I've come to RP Fitness, one of 20 local gyms in the city of Cambridge where Joe and Lee train. By the time I arrived, the lads have already got into their session.
There's an old hippie girl them running man down true stories. You can't introduce rhythm them like me. Needing a man a young from the east. Yell them sing. Yell them sing. Box of the rose. Shamson sing. Bad man sing. Which man I want a bad man sing? Must have been chest day. Absent sing. Ling it down. Ling it down.
I started by asking Lee why he decided to add steroids into his gym routine.
I was quite small before. A lot of people were doing it. It looked like it worked. Just sort of give it a go, and never went back. Everyone says it's cheating, but you still got to put the work in. Still got to eat right. Still got, and it does work. I've got good gains of it. Makes me feel better. Not only does it make me bigger, I've got joint problems and injuries. As soon as I'm on it, it sort of puts oil and liquid onto the joints, helps them, no pain. I was off, like 10 weeks ago, I was off for 22 weeks. Couldn't even train, I was in that much pain. Went back on it 3 weeks later, no pain. So it's not just for the fact of building muscle, it does help me as well.
I mean, have you thought about like the potential long-term effects though that it may have on the body, things like the heart and the liver and the kidneys, the organs?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, the tablets I take, I drink 4 or 5 litres of water a day to help wash them out. I'm not silly with them. I don't take over the amount or for too long, etc. Quite sensible with them. But I think once I'm at a point where I'm happy, I will stop. I don't think there is any proven deaths from steroids. Maybe steroid abuse. but not purely just taking it out, being sensible with it.
I mean, when you get to that point where you've like reached your goal, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're trying to maintain that, and then you try and take the steroids away. Do you think then that's when it will become difficult to really try and hold that?
I don't think so. Like I say, I was off for 22 weeks, didn't change size at all. I was still training as much as I could. Didn't really lose. As long as you do a PCT properly, which is your after course, basically helps get your hormones back and naturally build it all back. It won't really affect you. As long as you do it properly, I wouldn't say it's never affected me when I've come off.
I wanted to find out more from Lee. Where had his ambition to get in shape stemmed from? Was it simply a motivation to get fit, or were there other factors that influenced his decision?
I've always wanted to get big, obviously you don't train to stay small. It's just a long process, and obviously you see other people take stuff and you see them get bigger a bit quicker. Not less quicker, but better. You look in better shape, I think. So yeah, it just sort of pushed me to...
So what sort of size were you in beforehand then, before you started training and everything else?
About 13 stone, quite small, and no size or shape to me at all. Now I'm sitting at about 18 stone.
Did you ever used to get any like hassle at school or anything like that?
No, I've never had that sort of problem. It's never been that sort of problem. I've always sort of been, don't know how to put it, I've always sort of been quite confident as a person. Never been bullied or anything. Just I've always always watch people in the gym, always, do you know what I mean? Go to the gym and you see big people, and I've always wanted to have some size to me.
Do you think as well that there's more pressure on sort of young lads nowadays to bulk up and sort of get like
I think there is
size on?
Yeah, because there's lads like that are big, smaller people feel intimidated, I think. But there's no need to. We don't get big to be horrible. Get big to feel big.
Do you think there's an element of like social media and advertising and things like that, which perhaps makes people think I need to get down the gym,
possibly,
get that perfect body image?
Yes, healthy, isn't it? It's like advertising a salad. It's just a healthy body. Not as such being big's healthy, but looking after yourself. Obviously taking the right supplements and stuff for your joints while training, doing it properly. It's not bad for you.
Have you seen any sort of negative effects as of yet from using steroids alongside of it?
I haven't, no. When I took my first ever course, I got a bit angry, but it's not the steroids that make you angry, it's the mindset. If you've got a weak mind and tell yourself it's going to make you angry, it'll make you angry. I was young when I took my first course, so obviously I thought, yeah, I'm on steroids, got a bit angry. But if you've got a strong mind, it don't make you angry. It's not the steroids that make you angry. It's the thought. It's because everyone says it makes you angry. People think, oh yeah, I'm on steroids now, I can get angry and have an excuse. Don't work like that.
And if you want to lift your arm up there, he's like, you got some stretch marks and that coming across there.
Yeah, full of them.
Was that from beforehand, or has that just been through training?
Just from training, getting big quick. Obviously I've shrunk sometimes as well, like broke my leg last November. So I was laid up for 5-6 months, so I lost all my muscle, put on a lot of body fat, and so I've only had a year back in the gym to get where I am now. So yeah, obviously shrinking and getting big quick gives you stretch marks, but I've seen stretch marks as progression. It's like getting an A and getting a certificate for doing something at school. It means it's working.
I was curious to find out Joe's feelings towards anabolic steroids as a man who works on a daily basis in the fitness industry.
Right, so obviously you've just been speaking to Lee there, and he's quite open about being on steroids and everything else like that. What's your sort of view on steroids as a personal trainer?
My view is, if you want to take them, do the research. Take them for the right reasons as well. Like, don't take it because I think a lot of people take it when they're quite small, they get bullied and they want to take it, and then that's where, like Lee said, the psychological aspect comes in. You need to be as strong psychologically as you do mentally to take them, but I think you need to have the right reasons. You don't hit peak strength till 31, so if you're doing it for strength, you can still make. I know people that can deadlift way over 200 kg and they're all natural. They just do the same stuff week in, week out, and eventually they get there. It's personal preference really. I think if you want to take it, go for it, but just make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and you know exactly what you're taking, why you're taking it, how much to take, what your PCT is, what food to eat with it, what the side effects can be, and you just need to know everything. think before doing it.
Yes, it's arming yourself with the sort of knowledge, really, as opposed to just running into it.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't just like, for example, being at A levels, you wouldn't pick a subject and then just walk into an exam without researching or doing your revision. You wouldn't just buy a car without looking up what it is and how it, like the MPG and stuff like that. Nobody really makes rush decisions, but I think when it comes to steroids, they do. They see these big guys on steroids and they say, oh, I want to be that big. But they don't realise that the guys train harder than anyone I know. They eat a lot and they eat clean, and they're committed to it. It's not something, you can't just turn up to a gym 3 nights a week and get massive. It's 6-7 workouts a week, it's 6-7 meals a day. It's not going out, it's not having takeaways, it's eating the right food. A lot of people have a misconception that steroids automatically equal results. They don't. There's no replacement for hard work. The steroids just give you that little bit of an edge.
Speaking to Lee gave me a new perspective on steroid use. He assured me that if you followed the course correctly, there would be no risk of long-term health issues.
Yeah, I suppose it's made me ask the question, are steroids actually dangerous, or are they just dangerous in the wrong hands? You know, if people are using these things to excess, like any recreational drug or drug, you know, supplied by the NHS, if it's abused, then it is going to have fundamentally detrimental results on your health. And so I think Lee and Joe have gone about it the right way. I mean, I know Joe doesn't take steroids, but Lee, keeping to the correct dosages and then bringing his PCT back down with his hormone balance afterwards, I think is, if you are going to take them, definitely the best way to do so.
But despite all of the precautions Lee may take, can he guarantee the product is safe? Terry Stefani, a retired GP with over 30 years experience, told me about the dangers of buying products online.
The vast majority of people obtain them illicitly. And because of that, there's no guarantee about the purity of the product. Consequently, you actually don't know what you're taking. And that's half the problem. There are a lot of people out there trying to make as much money as possible. So consequently, the product that they're selling isn't necessarily pucker, isn't necessarily pure. So you have no way of knowing what you're actually putting into your body. And that's one of the issues.
So where are these products coming from? I consulted the .gov website to find out more information on the marketplace of anabolic steroids.
So the illicit drugs market of anabolic steroids is made up of 3 categories. Now the first is being products that are produced legitimately in places like Iran and Pakistan and then redistributed to us online. Now this is because the drug regulation and oversight is incredibly weak in these countries, and so it's easy for them to do so. Now the second, and potentially the most dangerous, is the ones that are of the clandestine and underground laboratories. Now this is where they buy in the bulk products to then package and create the anabolic steroids themselves in underground laboratories. Now these haven't gone through the correct medical oversight or regulations, so you don't really know what you're taking. And then the third is highly advanced countries where these steroids can often be prescribed, or people go online themselves, buy in bulk, and then redistribute them to other people like us in the UK.
Back in 2012, the Misuse of Drugs Act was changed to make it illegal to import steroids into the UK through mail order or online. However, there are still websites operating in spite of these laws.
So I'm just typing into Google now, buy anabolic steroids online, it's that simple. Over 611,000 results have instantly come up. I'm just going to click on the top one, buy steroids, UK #1 source. So as you can see, it's a genuine website, you know, it's set up like any other website normally would be. Different categories down the side there. It's interesting how they've said 100% discreet, so they know there's sort of undertones that they know that they're doing something wrong in that sense. It's still a Class C drug being imported illegally, in effect, redistributed illegally. So these are just basic testimonials and things like that about the products that people have bought, reviews. So it's very much an online community, people sharing their experiences of these different types of drugs, but also how accessible it is. There's no question of my age. When I've come onto the website, it's straight in. Okay, I want some Anabol, add that to my basket, proceed to checkout. It's like doing an online shop at Tesco's.
The total number of seizures made in England and Wales last year stands at just over 16 million, with the highest region being the East Midlands with 108,000 seizures. Now, between 2006 and 2015, the number of seizures in England and Wales has increased by 364%. Now, although 15.7 million of that 16 million that was seized last year was by border control, it's still evident to see that there is a market for anabolic steroids in the UK.
The strength and what I got from it, it was phenomenal. I've never felt anything. I felt great. You just weights, throw them on and benching 420 plates with the bar. It was just like, you may as well have had blooms on.
I met a former user and supplier in Sunderland to find out more about the accessibility and legitimacy of products on the market. He wished to remain anonymous.
Testosterone enanthate from Iran.
Yeah.
Pharmaceutical grade. Good stuff, 250 milligram per mil.
And how much is it going to set me back? Like if I came to you and wanted to buy some of these, how much is this going to cost me?
£30 a box.
£30 a box. And is that because it's a legitimate product from Iran, like it's been, you actually know what it is almost?
Yeah, because basically the cheapness of buying it abroad and bringing it back over, that's one of the main things. That in Iran is probably £5 a box. So whoever's bringing it back, they're going to make good profit on that. So £25 profit on a box, that's good. If you bring a couple of 100 boxes back, you're making good money.
And there was another one that you pointed out to me earlier, this one. Now you said...
Elixir.
Yeah. You said you don't really know what this is.
Well, it's like anything. You bring something to the market and somebody will counterfeit it. So the big problem is all these, they call it UGL, underground labs. 10ml bottles, you can go on eBay, buy the crimping tool, the bottles, the bongs, the stoppers, the caps, and you could fill that bottle with anything you want and order the labels and whatnot from China, and there you go, you set yourself a nice little business up. But as you say, you don't know what's in that bottle.
What other different things have we got down here then? Obviously we've touched on this one, we've touched on the Elixir, which is from the underground market. Are all of these are the rest of these legitimate products?
Yeah, they're all pharmaceutical grade. You've got testing on there behind the column.
Yeah, I'll just get that.
That's sustain on 4 different testosterone compounds, 2 fast acting and 2 slow acting.
So what does that mean, 2 fast acting, 2 slow acting?
Well, basically you have to jab it every 3 days.
Yeah.
And it's strong stuff. That's for like a bulking cycle. Obviously I would recommend taking Deca if you were to take it. Maybe Boldon with it. Obviously there's Deca there as well, Nange-Bolin. That's one of them what you can take with bulking, but as I say, you can have Trembolone, Winstrol, Prima Bolin, all of them. It just depends what you want to do and the end result what you want.
And how easy is it for you to get hold of products like these?
Too easy. Just like walking out in the street. Well, as any dealer, you can just give somebody a phone, you can go to the gym, and that's it. I've got enough stuff to fill this table if you wanted, but just one of them things. With all other drugs, if there's a market, somebody's going to be there to supply it.
So what sort of side effects did you see then off your own personal course?
First time was obviously roid rage, and that was uncontrollable. As I say, went into Greg's one day, went to pick 2 sandwiches up, for no reason whatsoever, didn't decide that I didn't like it, spitting the bread at the woman, demanding me money back for the sandwiches. Obviously she said, I'll get the police. I will have swat away. And I walked in the corner laughing me off thinking, hey, wasn't that crackers? But you don't realise it at the time. Another event, town centre, a lad said something, obviously no speaking, just bang, hit him, that was it.
I think it shows you how accessible steroids are, the fact that you can get a hold of them so freely. And the worrying thing as well, even the people selling them don't actually know what's in them. Like for example, that Elixir one, he didn't have a clue what was in that one. It was made in an underground lab in London. And when he told me as well about the side effects of roid rage being uncontrollable, it makes you consider them more. I hadn't previously thought about them as much, but now it sort of makes them a very apparent aspect of taking steroids, and I think a lot of people don't always consider that when they do start taking them. Dr. Terry Stefani recalls one shocking story of a patient who ended up behind bars as a result of steroid use.
The worst side effect that I had was a chap who became incredibly aggressive and almost paranoid with his wife, and in fact he was imprisoned because he just lost his temper and he beat her up, and he was put behind bars. And he recognised, as she did, I mean, she'd been pointing out to him that his behaviour was changing all the time whilst he was taking them, but he carried on.
So what are the other health risks that go hand in hand with products like these?
Well, anabolic steroids are basically related to testosterone. So there are a number of effects, partly due to the reduction in the levels of naturally producing testosterone from the testicles. So, for example, the testicles themselves will shrink. The sperm count goes down. The side effects of increased levels of circulating male hormones mean, for example, in men, you get an increased pattern of male baldness. The skin becomes quite greasy, and there's an increased risk of acne. They affect the heart. You get an enlargement of the heart. They affect the blood pressure, that tends to go up. They affect the blood lipids, so that the good cholesterol levels drop, the bad cholesterol levels rise, so you're more prone to having heart attacks and strokes. They affect the muscles. Obviously, they're taken because they increase muscle bulk, they increase strength, but at the same time, they increase vulnerability, and tendon rupture is not uncommon in people who take anabolic steroids. If they're taken in adolescence, they enhance the speed at which what are called the epiphyses, that the bones stop growing. So in youngsters and adolescents, they can actually end up not achieving their full adult height because their bones fuse too early. They affect the liver. There's an increased risk of liver cancer. They affect the kidneys, an increased risk of kidney cancer. They affect the bones. You can get osteoporosis in time. Those are the main side effects.
Yes. Grizzle kicks, Dag Nabbit. Yo, you might hear me make a racket like Wilson, cause I love summer, no Rachel Wilson. Yes. The winter will come, we just have parties inside, it's still fun. We're jamming, pump this, we're banging, chase your boyfriend, let's have him.
So what about people who don't use steroids? I went down to Fitness 2000 to speak to James, a keen gym goer who's chosen to go down the natural route.
You might see man driving Italian whip, blacked out windows going to the gym. Two dumbbells, yo, I'm going in. Doing it for Keisha, doing it for Kim. Do it for the speedo, do it for the beach. Do it for the stamina, do it for the sheets. Do it for the bicep, do it for the chest. Do it for the summertime, ready for the best. Pump, 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 up and down.
After his workout, I asked James why he thinks more and more men are turning to the gym and steroids to improve their physical appearance.
It's gone full circle. Men have got, they're turning the body image, like, men are definitely have more body image now. Like, it's not cool to be like, have the big beer belly, or if you have a six-pack, then you're sorted. Like,
do you genuinely believe that?
I think if you've got a six-pack, I don't know, it's one of them where you've got a six-pack, you can go out and you just feel more confident in yourself because you know the clothes are good on you. You hang better.
So it's more the feeling.
Clothes are fit. Clothes are designed to fit people with the wide shoulders,
appreciate feeling
the big
good.
arms.
Yeah.
And the tapered waist.
I can appreciate feeling good, but feeling good just because I've got a six-pack.
I don't think it's just because you got the six-pack, but I think that's a massive factor. I think it's that clothes fit so much better because they're designed to fit the tapered waist, the round shoulders, and the bigger arms. 100%. I think that's what leads most lads to do it, because the way the clothes fit. You want to look good in the night out. I wouldn't condone steroids in any case, but I think that mostly I wouldn't condone them if you're just doing it to look good in the club. Definitely not.
Do you think that there's more pressure on younger guys nowadays to look better from a younger age?
Yeah, definitely.
Even in the past sort of 5 years?
Definitely. Like, I don't know, back 30 years ago, you wouldn't have lads taking the tops off, and you wouldn't have lads posted everywhere. Like, look at all the underwear ads. You didn't have them back then. Underwear was underwear, boxes were boxes. Like, you either wore boxes or you wore wide fronts. But now there's so many different pairs of boxes. You've got that guy on the front on the Armani. You've got David Beckham looking hench. You got like people like The Rock being thrust upon us all the time. Do you know what I mean? You can't you can't deny that you wouldn't want to look like The Rock or Zac Efron. Now, look at him. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them where you just think it's everywhere. It's there, and then you've got the girls who've seen that, and they don't want that. So you can't, like, if you want to get a girl, you gotta think, well, I'm gonna have to look at that.
Professor Harrison Pope used an interesting method by looking at the evolution of children's toys over the decades to see how the body image has changed.
Our encouragement of muscularity, or supportive muscularity, so to speak, has been, in the West, has become particularly pronounced. This emphasis on muscularity has become particularly pronounced over the last several decades. And one example of this is the evolution of what we call action toys. This is our favorite American action toy, G.I. Joe. His equivalent here is called Action Man. And as you can see, when G.I. Joe first appeared in 1964, he was a perfectly ordinary looking dude. If he were my height, he would have a normal chest, normal biceps and deltoids. But you can see that by 1995, G.I. Joe started to put in a bit of time at the gym and has gained a certain amount of biceps mass and even a few abdominal muscles. And by 1992, he's not only put in quite a bit of time at the gym, but perhaps has done a cycle or two, and now has 16.5-inch biceps and a full six-pack of abdominal muscles, far removed from his 1964 counterpart.
Do you believe that doctors may be met with an increasing number of patients suffering with side effects of taking anabolic steroids in the future?
I think there's every possibility. They become, I understand, become more and more popular. And in part, I think that's due to, dare I say it, there's an increasing narcissism in society. People are so much more influenced by their appearance. And as a result of that, I think there are a number of people who take them, not necessarily to body build, but just to make themselves feel and look better, because of course it increases muscle bulk, so people can look better. So I think there's an element of that as well in today's society. So I think, in short answer to that question is, I'm sure increasingly there will be problems arising.
When I asked James what had deterred him from taking steroids, I got an answer that I was starting to get used to hearing.
Prohibition's the worst part about it, to be honest. I think that, not really prohibition, because obviously it's not illegal to take it, but it's illegal to sell it. And by doing that, it's forcing people underground, it's forcing the labs underground. It's you don't know what's gone into your steroids. It could be anything in it. You could, you go to inject test, like testosterone. Like, pharmaceutical testosterone is no higher than 250, but you're getting things like test 400, test 500. It's like, how are you doing that? Mm-hmm. If in a pharmaceutical lab you can't get it? Like, they've marketed testosterone's at 400 milligrams of testosterone in, 500 milligrams, and you think, how can you put that in if a reputable pharmaceutical company can't? You, someone underground, without half the stuff that they've got, and you can put 400 milligrams of testosterone in.
James talks about turning to steroids to look good on a night out, but can it be deemed acceptable if they're being used for sporting purposes? I've travelled to Whitstable in Kent to meet Charlie Bannigan, an osteopath who uses steroids as an addition to his passion, bodybuilding. I met Charlie at his home and place of practice to gain some wisdom in an area in which he had over 10 years' experience.
If you look at a 16-week prep, first sort of 6 to 8 weeks is you're taking more androgenic drugs, kind of powerful builder drugs, you know what I mean? So like, you know, your high testosterone based drugs, you know. And then just now starting me now this week, I've sort of come back in there to the more of the hardening drugs like Trembolone, Masterone.
And they're more designed to cut the fat, harden it, to solid you all up.
Yeah, to make you harder. Yeah, so you obviously you got to show how you also look hard as well. So these are more hardening drugs to make you look harder. Plus you've got your fat burners as well. You get the clenbuterol. You take your T3, which is thyroxine, in case you don't want to take that too long. 6 weeks max. So. Then growth hormone as well to take, and then obviously in the off season I was doing insulin as well. So it's
that's quite a concoction of drugs that you've got going on there.
Yeah, I mean it sounds more daunting than what it is, but you know, compared to what some people will be taking, I mean I don't, you know, it's you know you're taking 4 IU of growth, which isn't a lot a day, you know, and of the other drugs I'm taking 3 times a week. 2 mil each, so 6 mil a week. It's not, you know, okay. Some people watching this thing, oh, it takes drugs, fair enough, but you know, it's not an addictive drug.
So do you think it's worrying, or obviously you know what you need to do and the correct dosages and everything else and how to do it appropriately alongside your body, but do you think that, you know, people that can just grab it online or whatever else take it and just start using it?
You know, I've never done anything online. I've always gone from a source. I mean, okay, a lot of stuff is underground, unless you get pharmaceutical grade, which is more difficult. There's a lot of underground labs and everything else. But you know, I get my bloods checked as well through a doctor, so that's important to make sure your liver function and kidney function and all is good. So you know, when I finish this cycle again this time, and after about sort of 5 or 6 weeks, I'll get it checked out and see how I am, and go with it. And that's important as well. So you know, you got to be sensible with it, you know. And these are things you can't stay on forever and ever. Man, it's like alcohol. Well, alcohol is a terrible drug. Alcohol kills more people than steroids do. Steroids got a bad name. You know, this thing with road rage and everything else. I mean, if you're a nasty person in the first place, you shouldn't take drugs. I mean, I'm fine. I mean, I work, I treat people. You know, it's not, but it's just such a bad publicity. You don't see people with alcohol getting such a bad publicity, but alcohol is actually more for young than NHS. There's more people in NHS A&E departments because of alcohol abuse than there is with steroid abuse. You know what I mean? So, in
your profession, you must know sort of like the negative effects that these guys are going to be causing. I mean, you've just said yours is a lot more. You know, grounded.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not going to sit here and preach that, you know, steroids are this or steroids are that. You know, okay, we all know that it's a drug, it's not good for you. You know, it's like any drug. If it's handled properly, and you know, it should be safe. You know, it's when it's abused, and that's the key, I think. There's a few programs on TV on about it. Some people have this problem, that problem, blah blah blah. But then what they didn't sort of portray in these programs is how much stuff were they taking, how long were they taking it for. Yeah. So I love the media stuff because they just show the worst effects. When you go to the nitty gritty of stuff, like okay, how long were you taking it for? How long was your cycles? How much dosage were you taking? Blah 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 blah. You know, I'm still not just simply justifying taking it, but I'm just saying that you know it's all very well to go oh bad. But you don't look at the whole picture of the whole story, if you know what I mean.
I then asked Charlie if he could show me the art of posing.
So basically, as you come on stage, you all stand, the mandatory poses, you stand front on, yeah. You turn to the side, like this, facing forward. And you turn to the back, like this. Back the other way. Then back to the front.
I was roped in to provide a contrast in physique.
Here we go, Charlie. Right, so what's the first one you're going to teach me then?
Right, we'll do front double bicep.
Right, okay.
So it's up it is.
And what am I having to squeeze there? So I'm bringing it out like this, and then I'm having to start almost like my deltoids right there.
That's it.
Maybe not quite as impressive, but
okay.
Right. Okay.
The next one is front lat spread. So your hands behind your back.
Yeah.
You bring your hands around. You tuck your side of your waist like this. Just flare it back out. All the time you're squeezing your legs, squeezing every single muscle.
So you have to just
Yeah.
And then you got to look like you're smiling at the same time whilst on stage.
Yeah. That's the side tricep. So again, behind your back.
Sweep it round.
Yeah. Grab a hold and pull your left tricep
Right,
down.
yeah.
And then turn into the audience and pull your stomach in tight.
So the whole time you're having to do this whilst you've got about 4 or 5 other guys.
Yeah, I'll do it.
It's definitely one of the strangest experiences that I've ever had, being stood next to Charlie, but you could definitely see like the vast contrast in bodies in terms of his absolute size, muscle mass, muscle bulk. And that was good to see, because you can definitely see where he's putting in the work and where the steroids are helping in addition to that as well. Charlie in the interview was very much the same mindset as Joe and Lee, very pro-education. It's when substances are abused is when it can have adverse effects, and that's definitely what Charlie believes, and I can understand where he's coming from in that respect.
After reaching the end of my investigation, I reflected on what I'd learned over this process.
I definitely think there's every likelihood of people using anabolic steroids or continuing to use anabolic steroids in the future, as long as this body image and advertising and things like that, and this six-pack sort of society that we're so obsessed with the perfect body image continues, then I can imagine that it's going to be increasingly appealing to go online, purchase these products and hit the gym.